First order of business is approval of the minutes from the May 3rd, 2023 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, director's report.
You guys had the packet that included the cases for May. You know, maybe the only noteworthy thing, and I don't know if your narcotics guys are seeing it too, is just, and I know we've talked about it, just the continuing availability and cheapness of meth. I mean, we're doing multi-ounce buys, we get a pound buy, we're doing half-pound buys, quarter-pound buys. I don't want to overstate it, I'm not saying every day, but we never buy a quarter-pound of cocaine, ever. We never buy a quarter-pound of fentanyl, ever. I mean, we just don't do it, it's too much money. You know, that's a DEA case, that's something downtown. But a quarter pound of crystal meth, we've done 4 or 5 times now this year. So I can't overstate the availability and the cheapness of crystal meth. Just, I think you guys are seeing that traffic stops, I think. And I don't know if we're just into a good circle of people and we're doing a lot of meth all of a sudden, but it seems like everywhere we're turning our meth cases. And if you look at, you just look at that list of cases from last month and know the number of cases that involve meth, and then, you know, specifically when you look at the weights of meth. I mean, you know, 28 grams is an ounce, right? I know not everybody's real well versed in their grams versus ounces versus pounds and all that. But 28 grams in an ounce, 16 ounces in a pound, I mean, that's a, you know, 454 grams in a pound. That's a lot of a drug for what I think of as a street level drug task force to be buying. So that trend is, it's not new, that's been going on for a year, but I'm struck by it over and over, just the amount of crystal meth and how cheap it is that we're selling. So that was kind of really driven home last month when, you know, last month we bought 16 ounces of crystal meth. Or no, I'm sorry, we bought 28 ounces of crystal meth in various drug tests last month. 28 ounces. We've never bought 28 ounces of cocaine, ever. I never say never, I guess. I can't swear to what they did in the 80s, but I don't think so. I mean, it's a lot of the drug. So that trend continues. Make of it whatever you want. But methamphetamine is here and it's plentiful. And I know we've talked about it. None of it is homemade meth anymore. It's all ice. It's all crystal methamphetamine. It's, you know, probably originating in Mexico and working its way here. So. The financial statements were there. Everything's nothing real dramatic. We did expend out of the state forfeiture fund $21,439. That was approved by this board. That was for the modular wall system at the new training center. Everybody's well aware of that. But that check did hit out of the state fund. It's not showing in the financials, but you guys did approve purchase of a vehicle last month. I was going to wait and order that through this GSA, and it probably wouldn't come in until late in the year. But John Thrower found a GMC Terrain and Classic GMC that they were willing to give us at the state bid cost. We're on a bad run of cars lately where we got a bunch of stuff from the shop. So the timing was good, so Mr. Colson actually brought a check today, I see, thank you for that, out of the federal trust fund, so we're gonna expend.
Yeah, you made it sound like I brought the money.
Not you personally, not out of your pocket, but you guys approved purchase of a vehicle last month. We're gonna expend $32,615 for a GMC Terrain, which is like a mid-size SUV that is just very nondescript and common on the road. So that'll show in next month's financials. In addition to that, last month we discussed body-worn cameras for all of the narcotics agents. Mr. Colson suggested I check a few things with Dave Hackman before we move further with that. I had some back and forth with Dave over the last month. Number one, as we all kind of knew would be the case, but now we know for sure, Motorola is a state bid vendor, so that takes care of the issue of the bid on that. He also looked over the contract and approved it as a form. So I'd like a voice vote today, approval on moving forward. It'll be a 5-year contract at a cost of $62,090. That'll be paid in yearly installments. It's a little heavy the first year. I think it's around $22,000 the first year, and then it's about $10,000 a year after that, for a total of a 5-year contract. And again, we mentioned it last month, but for the record, that will entail the body-worn cameras for 10 agents, a spare body-worn camera, all of the cloud storage, all of the support, the PC to manage everything at, them coming out, setting it all up with us, so it'll be pretty well set. And we're going to do the cloud storage, not the server in the building.
Any questions on that?
Questions, concerns, thoughts?
That includes the replacement or service of the cameras for the entire 5 years?
Yeah, so if a camera breaks, you just mail it back, they send you a new one. That's part of the contract, right? Now, after 5 years, you got to start all over. But I didn't think that was always, then you guys know what they're costing, so.
Everybody good with that? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of the last piece of old business, because I was going to bring up another, but I think we may have covered it a little informally. But a little bit of grant business. I mentioned last month that a couple of grants were pending. I was expecting to get notification soon. A couple of days ago, we received notice that our DLEF grant, which is our largest grant that we get each year, has been approved for funding again for this new grant year. It's confusing because it's the 2022 DLEF grant, but the 2022 grant runs from July 1st of 23 to June 30th of 24. So it makes no sense, but that's what they call it, because I filled it out last year. So it's the 2022 grant. We were approved for funding, $75,000 from OCJS. It requires a cash match from us of $25,000. That's the same exact amount we got last year. So that's the good, believe it or not, that's good news. DLEF has declined over the last 5 years. I know I talked a lot about this at the meetings. Bob, maybe more for your info than anybody else. But DLEF, and I guess for you too, Rich, the DLEF grant is funded out of the ticket writing, the statewide. When tickets get written, you know, there's that drug law fund portion, a little tiny percentage of all tickets goes into this drug law fund. So the available amount of money has steadily declined since 2019, which was its last kind of full year. COVID hit, nobody was writing tickets. There's been a sea change in the culture of hiring in police departments, as everybody is aware. Guys don't really want to write tickets anymore, the public, the way police are viewed. So I'm not sure that account's ever going to get back to like pre-COVID reality. So at least they didn't cut us this year. That's the first year since 2020 that we haven't had it chopped a little bit. It was $144,000 in 2020 when I took over at Narcotics. Total, that's the award plus the match. And now it's down to $100,000 total award plus the match. But that's the same as it was last year, so at least they're not cutting us. So maybe that's stabilizing, which would be good news. You guys will have that come through your office. Jason will sign off on it here in the next week or so. I sent it over to you guys for review as the form, but that's largely formality. So that's making its way through. Well, we're pretty good at it. What's that?
If you want the money, you sign it.
Jamie's going to put it in front of you tomorrow and say, you want to sign this? And you go, yep. And that'll be that.
Under old business still, we discussed the mayors and managers, the appointment of the sheriff. There were no issues. I explained the history back whenever, no issues at our end.
That's perfect timing, because that's the last thing I had on here. We did, Mr. Colson mentioned it just informally when we were talking, but, so you think it's fine?
Yeah, we had a
manager
discussion,
side?
we had there was we had a motion, there was no issues at our end.
Okay, so we're chugging along. Bob, you're up on what all that is, right? They want to give the sheriff a vote. We want to give the sheriff a voting rights in this board. So it looks like that's going to move through fine. I'm anticipating.
Yeah, there's no.
And it should be on the commissioner's agenda tomorrow.
It is, okay. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, we discussed it. The sheriff was there. There was really no many questions. They were good with it, how I explained it, which was there.
So when Frank's back from his pool days, you can tell him it looks like it's pretty good, and by next month we ought to have it
Pretty well. Next meeting, we have at Frank's house.
Absolutely.
Fine.
Yeah.
Well, we have the pool meeting at Frank's house, we can discuss it.
Mosquito.
So if it's approved tomorrow, then it has to go out to all the
Does it take?
No, we'll go visit the chief in the villages when he retires.
There you go, mobile trip. Bob's trying to ask a serious question. Once
If
it's,
it's approved tomorrow, does that have to go out to all the,
Yes.
all the mayors then?
And the MOU is on Sunday.
they all have to sign off, but I would guess.
Yeah, whatever we get to us, I can bring the mayors and managers, or I can distribute it, unless we have to go through.
Does it have to go through your council? Will have to, for an MOU?
The councils have to all approve it,
All
yes.
right, so whatever language, get to me, and then we'll get to
Board
the
of
rest of the
trustees.
cities.
Township.
So they may need help.
Oh, they've got
No,
it,
they got it.
they've got it,
That was sent last month, wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah. So the language.
Everybody has a law director.
Everybody just has to sign off. So maybe after tomorrow's resolution, it can be something brought up at the next mayor's and managers
Once
and the next chief's meeting.
Have the resolution from commissioners
Tomorrow.
come to me, and then we'll get it handled.
And maybe put that out on mayors and managers too, so everyone.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll all be on the same page.
And maybe Randy and I can mention it at the next chief's meeting as well, just because I know sometimes.
You mentioned that last one. I mentioned it the last one.
Yeah. And that way, between the chief of the city and the mayor of the city, it'll work its way to the council. And it's just
The mayor signs it, right? Water.
They probably give the
Well, it's
mayor.
gonna be it's gonna be if it's a city, it's gonna be the city council who passes it, the mayor signs it.
Yeah, be the council president, the mayor, and then the law director. That's who passes all our legislation, signs our legislation.
Your charter might have a little.
Yeah.
So whatever city's mechanism.
Yeah, and if it's a township, then it would be the board of trustees.
It looks like it's fine now unless someone comes up through a wrench. But I think that's just, now it's just kind of details. Anything else on that? I don't think we have to go into executive session. I'll just be a little vague on this, but we discussed at a prior executive session. There was some pending civil litigation against LCNA. That case has been dismissed by Judge Collada. So no settlement or anything, just dismissed. Help me out, Mr. Colson. It's not qualified immunity when it's state court, it's something else. But the agent was found to have qualified immunity, whatever they call that in state court. If it were a federal lawsuit, they'd say he had qualified immunity. Whatever that language is in state court, Collada said that there's no basis for the suit based on that precedent. The case has been dismissed, so there's no further pending litigation. So I think I mentioned it that when we talked about an executive session, that's what we expected to happen, but it's still good when it goes like you expect, and that takes care of that. So that was a piece of new business, or a little bit of old business, I guess, either way. And then under some new business stuff, agents are currently undergoing CPT training. We'll have all of that completed by fall of 2023. I am sending guys to a couple different courses throughout the year, but we're still just doing the 24 hours online. Michelle was nice enough to send over what she sent to all your guys that I imagine you had a hand in.
Yep.
And so we're just going to do the 24 hours online.
Is there 24 hours available?
There is now. There had not been. I think it's all there now.
Well, the last mandatory class, I think just in the last couple of weeks, finally was put online.
Yeah.
Can you send that to me?
Absolutely.
Whatever rundown?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Because Frank's, what's Michelle's title? I mean, she's the executive assistant over there or something?
She's the boss, really.
She's the brains of the outfit, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Everybody has one of those, right? I do, it's Kelly.
Can you add me to that list?
Yeah, I'll just send it to all you guys. She put a nice thing together that shows and you could do a few different things, but she sent something that says, here's what's mandatory, and then also take all of this. And if you do mandatory and all of this, you'll be done and you can do it all online. Now, I think and do this, there's some flexibility in, but I like that she just said do it.
We just had a couple of our SWAT trainers go through, and I said, pick some courses that are applicable to to our, to everybody. And instead of having people kind of go and get confused on it, these are what we're gonna have everybody take.
And I liked it too, because I looked at what the list was, and I thought it wasn't too much wacky stuff, and there is some wacky stuff there.
Right.
And I thought this is just good and quick and easy, and they've got a checklist now they can just run through. So I'll send it. Maybe I'll just send it to everybody so you have it.
I talked to Paul Mathias over in Mayfield Village, and they're submitting a bunch of the in-service training that they do, sending the curriculum down or whatever. He said the state was pretty gracious.
Getting approval on them.
Giving approval on that stuff, so.
Well, and I know you can do, you can send your guys' stuff, and if it's already had approval, and I know like I was at, was it the Chiefs Conference where they had some things that they said were for, but then you get into the like, okay, well, how many hours do I have now? And do I need proof that they said it was approved, but am I sure the state knows it? So I just thought, I'm gonna have my guys do the 24 online. It's not that much. They can do it, they're like 2-hour blocks. And then we're still sending guys the stuff that we think is good for them in general, and if they get more, then they get more, that's okay.
Here's next year, it's gonna be 24 again.
Yeah, that seems to be what they're hitting on. And that's not too bad, especially with.
I heard someone saying 40.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Yeah, but I can't remember where I heard it. Someone said, no, it's just gonna be 24. I hope that stands correct.
Well, I'd love it if it were 40, if it were set up proper and funded and it was good schooling, that'd be, but that's not how it works. Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
It's dated.
Who's he?
He's a retired trooper, and he owns a place called North Coast Polytechnic. He's actually a really good instructor, but
Yeah.
what he doesn't have any choice on the subject matter, so when he tries to build a syllabus around it, and they ask to get that approved. Well, some of the stuff, I don't care what you do to it, you can't make it do it. But he does have a lot of good classes outside of it, but anyhow, so we had 3 days, actually the first day was sweet, because I liked it, and the next 2 days were rough.
Depending on the subject.
Your instructor also dictates on how.
The dude from Twinsburg or
Aurora, I think.
I thought that guy was okay.
Yeah.
The girl in between. I stayed away from her.
John, when is the last day?
July 5th or 4th is my last day, but I'll be in Florida then. So,
Good for you.
John gets sworn in on June 26th or 27th.
Are you guys gonna put that out so we can attend, or?
John swearing in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually like to stop by for that too, if that's for the public. So my last piece of business is that Chief Dealink is retiring from Mentor on the Lake. Thank you for your years of service to this board, and more importantly, to the citizens of Mentor on the Lake. And I wish you the best, my friend. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
It was a good board to be on.
Yeah, it's been fun. And I think you guys are all aware, Jim Schultz will take over starting next month for John's seat on the board. So that's already been through the commissioners approved. They approved Jim when they approved Matt. It was just easier to do both at once. So Jim takes effect July 1st. So that was the last thing I had. Anybody have anything else?
The sheriff too.
Motion for adjournment would be in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?